Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Madam Secretary in American red, white, and blue politics. And specifically what Madam Secretary did as far as balancing message and narrative. Really fascinating. So, what is Madam Secretary? Well, it had 6 seasons. It was on CBS. It ran between 2013 and 2019, I believe, and it was a CBS show. Okay, now it was on for 6 years on CBS, and it did not matter. And the reason why is nobody watches CBS. That thing is buried. It is just like it's the smallest, most rinky dink. It's not. You know what? Let's talk this through. It's really fascinating what CBS is today. So, one of the smartest guys in the world is John Dickerson. He actually is on, I think he's on 2020 now, and actually he actually works for CBS. How ironic. So he actually works for CBS. I got to know him through the Slate Political Gabfest. He's a political wonk, a political writer, and he's he's become like a little bit of a low-end anchor man, right? And really fascinating guy. But John Dickerson, he pointed me recently to a video which showed the top shows in data. It's done by Data Bros. I'll put the link below. It's a great video that shows the top television shows every single year and how they changed. And it's about 10 minutes long, and it just takes you from like all the way from the Gunsmoke era all the way up to like 2020, right? And it's truly incredible. And one of the things you saw over the last 10, 15 years, CBS absolutely crushed the ratings, right? And just got all the ratings for all their shows and just won nearly every single bracket. Now, is that because CBS was just doing a great job of getting people to watch their show? Exact opposite. Everyone who was watching anything was no longer in a place where you could rate them, right? So basically, CBS is the only network that still has people you can call on a landline, still has people who turn on the television, then go and actually change the channel, and they're like, oh, my show's on at 8 o'clock. What? Like, I ain't watched TV like this in a decade, right? So CBS just crushed it because they had the viewers who could actually still be caught in Nielsen ratings, and the way they rate shows with Nielsen ratings is so ancient that only like CBS viewers would be rateable like this. So that's just it. Is this show? Nobody watched this thing when it was on television. I actually know exactly the real numbers. It was between 4 million. At its lowest was between 4 million, and at its peak, 14 million people watched it. That's nothing, right? Like, it's just very low ratings, right? Because we got like 340 million people in America, and that's not even 5% at any point, And by the way, we know what the top numbers are. To really get there, right? An incredible rating is 30 million people watching your show. That has been an incredible rating for decades, right? And almost nothing gets 30 million people watching it anymore, except I think one or two massive American sports events that happen once a year in January. So yeah. All right. So Madam Secretary is really fascinating. I've been watching this closely, and if you are watching this channel, you should be watching. You should absolutely check out at least the first season of Madam Secretary. And if you do, I guarantee you will fall in love. You will watch the rest. It's fascinating. It has a great narrative, right? So it's Secretary of State, and it's Tia Leone, and she is clearly a veiled reference, in my opinion, to Hillary Clinton. Like, they literally dress her like her. They have her wear her hair just like her. And in this show, I think she's just supposed to be a cool Hillary Clinton, right? But to make her cooler and to make the narrative more exciting, she was ex-CIA, right? Which does make the show way better, right? And it allows her to be in these exciting scenes and but what really blew me away is this is a message show, right? So this is Hollywood saying, oh, hey, it didn't work out with Hillary Clinton being Secretary of State. We didn't really gain a lot of points, and then she should have been our next president, but it just kind of evaporated, and we lost and actually we handed the presidency to the Republicans, And not only did we hand it to the Republicans, but we really made it so that we're probably not going to get in power another for a long time. And even when we do, we're going to struggle, right? So, you know, and Donald Trump just took the ball and ran so far with it, right? But this Madam Secretary, it needs to tell a compelling story. It needs to keep people interested in the story, right? Now, it's a message, though, by people who are incredibly blue, right? Like blue Democrat, red Republican, just incredibly blue, right? And so you know they have some messages. They got a long list of messages they want to get out. But they know if they just message, they're going to lose the audience, right? It's got to be a compelling story. It's got to be exciting. So one of the things that, you know, is their message is woke. It's everything woke, right? But their narrative is so unwoke. I couldn't believe it, right? And so there's this incredible dissonance in the show where the show is constantly saying, this country did this, this country did this, this country did this. Non-American countries, right? And just painting them in the most poorest light. And like, you know, things where you're like, oh my gosh, a blue person would say that about that nation? That's incredible, right? And it's just shocking to me that when push comes to shove, the left, the Hollywood left, is more than willing to push the message down and make sure the narrative is compelling, even if it presents very, very non-woke subjects. It is truly, truly fascinating and compelling. You have got to check it out. Really, really check this out. It is really fascinating. All that's my opinion. Let me know what you think about Madam Secretary. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.